Yeah, because I feel like when people go into interviews thinking they know everything, it's like, all right, now, are you going to actually be willing to learn? Because a lot of people who think they know it all, they're not the easiest to teach. So when people ask those type of questions during interviews, they look at it as like, are you coachable? Like, can we actually, teach you things? Will you be honest with us and let us know, like, hey, you really don't know this? And so I think that's pretty good that you kind of figure that out, because especially in this industry, like, I used to thought it was very big to know everything, and then I had to learn, like, hey, as long as I'm coachable and I'm letting people know, like, shut up, I don't know this, but I'm willing to learn. It's like anything will go, anything will work.
Easy to dream a dream, though it's harder to live.
Today's episode is powered by the Apex Institute. They help high-earning tech professionals break into cloud engineering. So if you guys are interested and want to learn more, please look at our description in our bio. And thank you guys so much for sponsoring this video. Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Techpreneurs Talk. My name is Justice Collier, your host. And today we have a lovely guest by the name of Isaac. Isaac, it's nice to have you here.
It's nice to meet you, Justice. Nice to be here.
I'm so excited. Okay. So I would like for you to give a brief introduction about yourself, who you are, what you do, and what you do in tech.
I'm Isaac Roye, and I am a cloud engineer in tech, and then also I have a background in software engineering as well. I've worked in big tech as well as some smaller companies, and now I'm trying to focus more on helping others make more money in tech while not killing themselves essentially with the amount of work they have to do.
Nice. Okay, nice intro. So I want to know, where exactly are you from? Like, are you from Texas? Like, where exactly?
Yeah, so I'm actually from Oklahoma. I moved to Dallas about 8 months ago.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Welcome to the move.
Yeah,
It's the money city, real money city.
No, for real. Everyone's saying Miami, but I'm like,
I can actually see you in Miami. I really can. I can see you actually living there.
I think I could.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like there's a lot of distractions.
Yeah, no, that is true. Dallas is very wholesome, so I get that. Okay, cool. So you lived in Oklahoma? You're from Oklahoma?
Yeah.
And you just moved to Dallas? Mm-hmm. And then, okay, so you went to college?
I did.
What did you study?
Computer engineering.
Me too. Well, I did
Okay.
software. I did software engineering.
Okay,
But computer
cool.
engineering is cool. What
I
did
didn't
you
know they
actually
had software
do?
engineering degrees.
Really?
Yeah, like typically it's like computer science and then like engineering, which is, they kind of split it up even though there's some overlap.
So did you do computer engineering hardware, or you kind of like tapped into software a little bit? Or more or
Yeah,
less?
so it was actually hardware, and
Okay.
then it was like my senior year where I was like, nah, I actually want to do software. So instead of like switching my major, I just started studying more software.
That's crazy. You know what's so crazy that you said that? Because I was actually in computer hardware engineering as a major first, and I switched my sophomore year because I was like, I don't like the hardware stuff. And so I switched to software. And then that's when I was like taking up more hours to get a software degree so I can make sure I graduate on time. So it's crazy that you said that, because you was like, no, I didn't want to switch. And then I actually ended up switching. So it's just so wild that you even said that. But okay, cool. So you have a degree in computer hardware engineering.
Right.
And what was your first job out of college?
Yeah, so my first one, I did a role, it was actually like local, but it was still kind of remote, and I started doing that, while I was still in college.
Okay.
And then from there, I ended up working for Carrier, and then so basically they're an HVAC company, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know HVAC.
And then there I was still it was like software, but also more like embedded software, so like a little bit of hardware too. Mm-hmm. And then from there, that's kind of where I started moving to in big tech for Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, so you got the degree, you started doing software embedding, and then you got into Amazon, a position with Amazon. Mm-hmm. How did you land that position with Amazon?
Yeah, so I had actually interviewed for them previously and then didn't get in. And then a recruiter actually messaged me. Funny enough, this was my first day at Carrier. That a recruiter messaged me saying like, hey, we saw you in the system, like, basically like we want to interview you. So like when I, got back, because I was in a different city for like orientation and stuff, basically I was like, yeah, like, let's go ahead. And a couple months later, I go through the whole interview process. I get the offer, and then I end up moving to Seattle.
So they moved you.
Yeah.
Did they give you a relocation package? Like, how was the whole process of you moving?
Yeah, so I did get a relocation package. So they gave me like a flat fee for like relocation, and then they paid for my flight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I think it was the flight they paid for, and I think I think it was just the flight, and then like a flat like fee for like relocation, basically.
Now let's step into more of your day to day at Amazon. Exactly, what did you do on a daily?
Yeah, so so they're that kind of the way like Amazon works is like we don't really have like say like site reliability engineers and stuff like that. It's kind of like you build it and you own like the whole thing. Like that ownership's like one of like the leadership principles. So basically it was, hey, we work on, you know, the features, but then we also work on the DevOps side as well. When it comes to like our pipelines, our cloud infrastructure, that kind of thing. There was also an on-call rotation as well.
So was this like during the day, or this was kind of like graveyard shift? Cause I'm just double checking because I don't know how everybody period works.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, this was like full 8 hours in a day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you were on call, then like if it was your turn to be on call, then basically like, hey, anytime there's a Sev 2, then, you know, you have to go like take a look at it and, you know, get it out of that Sev 2 state. So, you know, they could ring you at like 2 a.m.
Oh my goodness, and you have to get up and do it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, cool. And then so how long you was there for?
About a year and a half.
Okay, a year and a half. That's actually a good enough amount of time to get some experience. So where did you go after Amazon? Like what made you go somewhere else?
Yeah, so fortunately, you know, with the way the tech market was, ended up getting let go from that one, you know, layoff and everything. So after like that, I was kind of like in a rough in-between period.
Of course.
Where I actually wasn't able to get anything for over a year.
A whole year?
Yeah, more.
What do you think the issue was?
Yeah, so part of it is, you know, just like the tech market, like, you know, it's not great. And I know a lot of other people are having a rough experience like with the tech job market. But I think like one aspect which I've like really worked to improve upon was communication when it comes to being able to communicate my technical skills. Because like, let's say technically you're at a 10, but you can only communicate that at a 5. Are they gonna look at you as a 10 technically, or are they gonna look at you closer to a 5?
Oh, okay. And what's the 5? Cause now I'm curious.
So like a 5 is basically like a, hey, like we don't want to hire you. Because
so there's no 1, it's just straight 5 and 10s.
Well, I mean, there could be a 1, but a 1 is like, why are you even here?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I get it. And then, okay, so like, for example, with Kevin Samuel, he said there's no 7s. So like, was there a 7 in between this 5 to 10, or is it just like?
Yeah, it could be. It could be like if you're technically at a 10 and you're like saying stuff, and the interviewer can't understand, like they may know, like, okay, like technically, like, you know, he's not like an idiot, but like I don't even know what he's saying, so I can't evaluate what he's saying.
Got it.
Because I don't even understand like what he's trying to tell me.
Oh, that's interesting. So what were some of like the interview questions like for you during that journey? Like what was the one interview question that stuck with you and was like, man, I need to kind of like remember this moving forward and, you know, understand it?
Yeah. Off the top of my head, it wasn't even like like remember this, but it was like it's okay to be like, I don't know. Like, unless it's like something that is like super like important to the job. Like if you're being hired for, you know, a Python developer and you don't even know like a basic thing in Python, like, okay, like that, it might be wraps there. But like, basically like in this interview, like this guy, he was like kind of like drilling me. And like, he was asking me this question and then I answered, and then he was asking me like more and more questions about that thing. And then he was like, okay, like say you're, you know, in the next thing, like, what command would you do? And then I was like, you would CD, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, okay. And then after that, what would you do? And then I was basically like, yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay.
And he was basically like, yeah, the reason why I was doing that was because like in every interview, I try to get someone to say like they don't know.
They don't know. Yeah.
So it was almost like a trick question. Like,
No, and I
like
get
he
that.
wasn't, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like when people go into interviews thinking they know everything, it's like, all right, now, are you going to actually be willing to learn? Because a lot of people who think they know it all, they're not the easiest to teach. So when people ask those type of questions during interviews, they look at it as like, are you coachable? Like, can we actually, teach you things? Will you be honest with us and let us know, like, hey, you really don't know this? And so I think that's pretty good that you kind of figure that out, because especially in this industry, like, I used to thought it was very big to know everything, and then I had to learn, like, hey, as long as I'm coachable and I'm letting people know, like, shut up, I don't know this, but I'm willing to learn, it's like anything will go. Anything will work. So, no, that's pretty good then. Okay, cool. So what was your least, I wouldn't say least favorite, but, like, the interview question that you hated getting, like, the most from recruiters? When anytime they ask this question, you're like, oh, man, I'm about to cringe.
Yeah, the one that I would say like I hated getting the most.
And if you don't have any, that's fine too.
Yeah, I'm sure there are some.
Yeah, there are some?
Yeah, but I can't like remember off the top of my head like the specific question where I'm like, okay, I don't like getting this question.
Okay, but we'll skip over that then. As for the next question that I have for you, I want to kind of tap more into, okay, we went into your layoff journey, but during your layoff period for a year, what exactly did you do for that year?
Yeah, basically, so after, I was interview prepping and interviewing and applying. And then I did have to end up moving back home for a little bit, which that was really tough.
Right.
And then I did work as a personal trainer.
I can see that.
Yeah, thank you.
We can see that.
And then, during that time, I just continued to interview prep and interview. But most importantly is like, even though I wasn't like employed in tech,
Right.
I was still in tech.
No, I get it.
So I was still leveling up my skills, and making sure that I was getting better.
And like, how are you able to level up your skills?
Yeah, the biggest thing I would say is, look like for the jobs that you're applying to, look at the job description. What are all the tools and technologies that they're listing in that job description? And then go and like make projects around those so that you can actually get really good at that. Not just like, oh, like, I've done this before, but like, how did you do this?
Right.
Right. And then like, what are all the details that it takes to actually like be good at that skill? And then also learning more on system architecture and things like that at the higher level as well. Okay,
cool. And so with that then, okay, you build your skills, and then when you first land your first role, what was the actual role? Did you enjoy the pay? And also, how did you actually land that role?
Yeah, so this was a little bit crazy when it happened, because I actually ended up getting two offers on the same day. Oh, wow. Yeah.
That is really good.
Yeah, so it was like a year of just like nothing, then all of a sudden
everything picking up.
Right. It's
good.
Kind of like when it rains it pours. So the first one, which is the one I took, it was the cloud infrastructure engineer role. And then the other one, this was a staff software engineer role for Visa.
Oh, staff and Visa. That's pretty good. Okay, cool. And then how in the world did you like get an interview with Visa?
Yeah, so a recruiter actually reached out to me on LinkedIn, and then basically I just went through the whole interview process, and then ended up doing well enough on the interviews that they extended me an offer.
Did you optimize your LinkedIn, or you have your LinkedIn optimized?
I definitely spent a lot of time on my LinkedIn for sure.
Okay, cool. What are some of like the key factors that you did for your LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things is like putting your actual skills on LinkedIn, and just making sure that your LinkedIn is essentially like search optimized, because a lot of times when they're looking for a specific role, they're not as they're not looking through the applications as much from what I found. It's they go and look at the qualified candidates that they see on LinkedIn who have the skill sets that they're looking for, especially if they have like an open to work.
Okay. Yep.
You know, then they just go and reach out. Heck, even if you don't have an open to work,
Yeah.
these recruiters, man.
No, yeah, seriously. And did you have a really good headline too, or you just felt like your skill was the one that sold it for you?
Yeah. So I did have a headline basically with my title and essentially like what I did and what I focused on.
Okay, nice. So between the two offers, which one did you pick?
Yeah, so I ended up going with the other one, which is for a nonprofit company instead of the Visa one.
You turned down Visa?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, so it actually was a shitty decision, but the two main reasons.
Okay.
So one was work-life balance,
Okay.
and then the other was location.
Where was it located?
So it was in the Bay Area.
Ooh, okay, I can see that.
Right.
Yeah, I can
So
see that.
even though the pay was a good amount more,
Yeah.
when you factor in the cost of living of moving to the Bay Area, you know, it wasn't as
It didn't make
much
sense.
as you thought. Yeah.
No, I get it. And then, so where was the other job located? If you don't mind us asking.
Dallas actually.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Duh. Okay, no, I get it. Okay, cool. I like it. I feel like you made a good decision because, especially with work-life balance, it's very big in today's, I want to say space, but as a human in general, like we have to have that. So when people don't have work-life balance, you can make all this money, but then you're miserable. So I think that was a really good decision that you made. Honestly, really, really good. Okay, cool. So you took the job, and then from there, like, what have you been doing so far? Like, how has your journey been?
Yeah. So currently just been working at the job and making sure I'm trying to do a good job for them and one thing I really do like about this company, like in particular, is like because it's smaller, there is more like it's not as corporate,
Okay.
like at all. Like I remember I was out to dinner, like it was like a team like bonding thing, and then
Yeah.
like the CTO was there, and I'm sitting next to him, and he's drinking and just like just
Having a good time?
right.
That's
And
good.
it's like, okay, wow, like I wouldn't have had this at Amazon, and then they
Wait, why you thought you might have that on Amazon?
well, I mean that just wasn't the culture there.
Okay.
Yeah, like I mean, at a good time, but it's like it's still like corporate enough to where
Okay.
like people aren't like the CTO, like he was talking about as a kid he was like doing drugs and all this other.
No name, no face, no case. Clock it. But no, that's crazy. Okay, cool. So you're very big on culture fit. So you're big on culture fit, work-life balance, and you'll triple that over the money any day, is what it sounds like.
Yes and no.
Yes or no? Please
Yes and no.
elaborate.
Yeah, so my theory basically is, or my philosophy kind of is like, if I have a job that has better work-life balance, and what I mean by work-life balance specifically is like, if you have a job where maybe like they actually don't give you that much work, but it's very meeting heavy, that like takes up a lot of your time.
No, it does.
Right. Whereas like, let's say like there is like a decent amount of work, but like it's very async. Like I have no problem doing work at like 9 p.m. Like again, if you have a family, you got to spend time with your kids. Like you might be different.
Yeah.
So like that's pretty big for me.
Yeah.
Because then that allows you to have time to do other things, whether that's starting a business. If you even want to go to like, say you just want to go to a doctor's appointment, right? And then you have like a job that's very meeting heavy, right? You now have to like schedule around that. If you want to take a flight somewhere, if you want to interview for another company, right?
No, I get it. So you like behind the scenes roles. You don't really like client facing roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm the same. If you guys are like that, please put in the chat client facing roles or behind the scene roles. I would like to see which one you guys prefer because that takes another toll too on you, because if you like to talk all day and like to have people in your face all day, then it's like, okay, cool, you only need to go for client roles. But with behind the scenes role, it's like it's more for us introverts, where people who are like don't want to talk all the time, we'll have a meeting here and there, probably a stand up, but at least we can get our work done throughout the day. So if you are an introvert, it's more behind the scenes, and if you are an extrovert, it's more like client facing. Because some people don't know that. They try to figure out when they start their journey, and then they're like, I don't know what what I like. I just know I like to talk. Or I just know I like to be left alone. So, no, that's pretty cool. So with that role, do you consider that role, it's like a mix of both? Or it's like more behind the scenes?
There is a little bit of a mix of both.
Okay.
In terms of like, there are times where like you get to see like, hey, here's like the actual impact you're making, etc. But then like for me specifically, it's not that meeting heavy. Like we actually don't even have like stand-up meetings. We have like stand-up, like async stand-up basically, where you just message in the chat like, hey, here's what I'm working on, etc. And then we kind of have like a once a week like meeting where that's more of a stand-up.
Got it. And then, so for example, if you can kind of explain this for like people who are in college, not in the college, but in college, how could you explain this role to somebody like them to understand, or maybe try to consider doing this in the future?
Yeah, so essentially, kind of like, well, because this is more of a smaller company, I do actually have to do, like my responsibilities spread throughout. So there is the cloud infrastructure side, and basically with cloud infrastructure, say you have an app, it needs somewhere that it needs to live, and that's in the cloud. So I manage that aspect. But then at the same time, because it's a small company and there are not a lot of other tech people there, I also have to manage the actual back-end code, and then a little bit of front-end as well, but primarily back-end and cloud. I would say for most people, I would kind of focus on one area and get really good at that one area, as opposed to, trying to do a bunch of other things, even though that's what I've done a little bit. But yeah, the riches are in the niches.
All right, let's tap into, since we got that out the way for the college students, you're welcome. But let's tap back into working with like FANG companies versus startup, because the fact I'm still stuck that you left Visa. Well, not left Visa, but you like turned down Visa to work at a company that's in Dallas. What is like the difference between FANG and startup, if you want to elaborate more on that? Yeah,
so there's FANGs, there's startups, but then there's also more of those mid-sized companies. And then like FANG is obviously like, and I'll loop like big tech as well in there. So like Visa, even though it's not in the FANG acronym, it's still big tech.
Yeah.
And then there are startups, which I'm actually not the biggest fan of startups as well.
Okay.
Because startups, a lot of startups, they're actually trying to become things. So then they may actually put you through a harder interview process than the FANG.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, because I've had some interviews that were actually harder than some of the FANG interviews I've been through.
Now, I want to hear about it. Let's talk about it. How? Please tell us.
Yeah, so there was one startup where basically I had to talk to the hiring manager, then I had a take-home assessment, then they wanted to do an interview where I talked about the assessment and like all the stuff I did on it. Then I was supposed to do another interview. I believe it was supposed to be system design. And then I think after that was going to be like a panel interview as well.
How many rounds is that?
I think probably like 5
Come
rounds.
on now. Okay,
Yeah.
when do y'all feel like too many rounds is enough? After 2 to 3, after the third one, don't call me. That's just how I feel. What about you? Like, how do you feel? What was like your dad, like, no, I'm not doing it in rounds, like number?
Like right now, I would probably say if it's more than 3.
Yeah.
Ideally, recruiter screen, hiring manager screen, panel interview. After that, make a decision.
No, seriously, I agree. Because I feel like once you pass the 3, it's all right. Now you just playing in our faces. That's just how I take it personally. Like, I don't even like to do challenges or like take home assignments. I'm not doing them. So it's like, if I don't have 1 or 2 and it's a done, don't call my phone. But let's tap into the panel, because, panels are not everybody's strong suit. Do you feel like you're really good at panel interviews?
I would say now I am, yeah.
How did you grow, like, to get good at that?
Yeah, so one thing about panels is like usually these are the people you're actually like gonna be working with, assuming you get the role. So there's 2 types of panels. So there's one where the interview is gonna be more technical, and then for there, like you just need to be able to answer the technical things. But then even then, like most of these guys, like they're not really interviewers. Like they spend most of their time just doing their day-to-day work. And then there's the other side, which is the culture fit. So like your goal on the panel interview is to just make everybody like you.
Is that the goal, really?
I would say it is, yeah, because at the end of the day, like if obviously like you need to be strong enough technically,
yeah.
But if you're strong enough technically and everybody leaves going like, I really like this guy.
So do you think with the panel, do you go first or do you like to go last? Because I know with me with panels, I like to go last. I like to hear everybody else talk their stuff first and then I go last. So which one do you prefer?
Yeah, so it does kind of depend on how they structure it.
Okay.
But you know, usually they'll like, you know, maybe do a little bit of introductions, but sometimes like maybe just the main guy does an introduction and then they do you.
Yeah.
But one thing I do like to do is maybe like try to get them talking a little bit, because then that takes away some of the pressure on you, because like a lot of times it's very easy to get into a situation where they're just rapid fire asking you questions, boom, 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 boom.
No fact.
And like, sure, if they ask you stuff that you know, like, okay, you can still shine, but it's a lot easier when you're in a situation where it's more of a free-flowing conversation. And then obviously you sprinkle in that technical. So now it becomes less of a grilling session. You get to be more relaxed. You get to enter into more of a flow state.
Yeah.
And then also they like you more because they're looking at it like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just having a conversation with this dude. I'm not really like.
And they're not thinking about nobody else on the call? Basically what you're saying, like they're not thinking about nobody else on this call, but we right here, we locked in with it. No, I like that. That's a good way to think about it, honestly. Because a lot of people, they get very nervous to do panels. Like they are like freaking out about to have a panic attack when they hear the word panel. So I want to make it where like people get more comfortable to like do panels like in the tech space and not freak out, but make sure they can sell the like hiring team or the hiring manager on why they're the top candidate.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, a big thing is like, assuming you make it to the panel, usually the hiring manager interview is first. You know, sometimes some companies will do it like a little differently, especially if it's like a smaller company where like you'll have the panel and then you'll have one where like you meet with like the CTO or, you know, some guy who's more higher up. But usually it's gonna be, you know, that hiring manager then panel.
Okay.
So like if you had gotten to that panel interview, the hiring manager already likes you.
Yeah.
So he already thinks you're good.
Yeah.
You just got to convince these other guys that you're good.
But what about if they like everybody that's in the panel? Because I feel like they like all of us, honestly. I feel like they think we're all good. Now they just want us to go toe for toe. That's how I feel when it's panel time. I feel like they like all of us. And then they're like, okay, let's see to the best candidate who's going to win this panel round. Like, that's how I look at it. To me, that's my eyes. But I don't know about for you.
To a degree sometimes.
Okay.
Like you can definitely kill an interview. And I've left interviews going like, I nailed that one.
Yeah.
And then I still didn't get it.
No, fact.
Right?
It's been like that plenty of times. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I got that in the bag. And they call me, they're like, hey, we didn't go with you. But mainly, they don't go with me because of the money.
That actually happened. That actually happened to me. It was earlier this week, actually.
Bro?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where there was
bad.
an interview I went through, and then the recruiter told me like, "Hey, they thought like you were really strong technically, but they just went with someone who like was submitted at a lower rate."
Now let's get into talking about how they pick the lowest ones, because they know you're a good professional, like a good tech professional, but they can't afford you. Do you want to get into that? Because that is very something it pisses me off to a T. Because I'm just like, you know I can do the work. You called me back for more rounds. Not even one round. I had one company, I ain't gonna say who they are. They don't call me for 3 interviews back to back. And I treated it as like a consultation. I felt like they was only interviewing me to see what they can get out of me so they can take my strategies and give it to somebody on their team. And at that point, I told the recruiter, I said, hey, this is y'all 3rd time calling me. And y'all not going with me because of what? The rate? Because y'all can't afford me? Y'all knew that when y'all kept calling. So now I'm sending you guys an invoice. now I want some money out of this, because now I feel like you're playing with my time. And I really did that. I really sent them an invoice. Now, they ain't paid it yet. But I had to let them know, like, I'm serious. Like, stop calling me and have me do interviews if you're not going to actually have me as a candidate. But as for the money part, it does happen a lot. A lot of people in the tech space will have you come do interviews just to get your strategies, and they know for a fact they're probably not gonna hire you or they can't afford you. Like, your budget is not in their bandwidth, and they know that already. But yeah, as for the money and the compensation, I want to tap into how is money different from the FANG versus like with the startup and the mid-sized companies? Like, what are some benefits when it comes to like, I don't know if they do bonuses, anything dealing with stock, equity, or whatever, but I want to kind of get into that a little bit more.
Yeah. So with FANG, this one is you're typically, you're gonna get a base salary. A lot of times they'll give you some stock, and then most times that stock will vest over the course of say 4 years. And what's usually standard is like a 1-year cliff. So let's say, you get into Google, right? And then you leave after 9 months. Then that first year of like stock, you get none of it.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's after that first year, you get like the first like quarter. I think they started doing like more of like a front loaded vest now to where maybe like some more of it vests, over the beginning. But typically how it's done is like they give you an amount, let's just say like 100K over 4 years on stock. So in that first year, you'll get 25K. And then after that first year, then quarterly, you'll get, that prorated amount.
Okay, got it. And then so for somebody who is new to like the engineering space and who don't know what to ask for when they having these meetings with like the hiring managers or recruiters, how should they go about asking for these type of things or like learning more about it when they're on a call with the recruiters? Yeah,
so I think with FANG, it's actually the easiest because all the salaries, since there are so many people that work at their company, there are so many salaries that are posted online. So one of the easiest things to do is go to a site like levels.fyi. You can then look at the company and then that position to see what they're paying and you can look at your offer to see if that's competitive with, the average salary that they're paying. And also keep in mind of location. So if you're in the Bay Area, you're typically gonna be at the higher end of the band, whereas if you're somewhere else, like let's say Texas, it may not be as high just because of the cost of labor. So people kind of get this confused and they think that you get paid more from being in a higher cost of living city, but they actually don't care about the cost of living, they care about the cost of labor. Meaning in that tech market, like how hot is it? Like how competitive is that market? So in the Bay Area, there's a lot of other big tech companies there. So they know that they have to pay more to get people there. Whereas if you're in Texas, they can afford to give you a lower salary and it's still usually gonna be higher than what other companies around there are gonna give you.
All right, so that was a lot of gems that was just dropped. I don't know if you guys was taking notes, but I was definitely taking notes. But I want to also tap into this one important thing. If you guys caught the Tayo interview and we talked about the 1.4 million offer guy, well, you guys, this is your guy. So let's tap into how in the world did you get 1.4 million in offers?
Yeah. So basically, like these are the annualized like salaries like over, what I've gotten like written. So, first I'll start off with the 2 I got like on the same day. Then a week later, I got an offer from this platform. It's called Merker, and basically different like professions, but it's big for software engineers. Basically, you can be put on a project where they will pay you an hourly rate to do work for them, and I've gotten 2 of those.
So that's like C2C.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit more short term, but yeah.
Oh, it's more fractional.
Yeah.
Fraction. I'm telling you, don't sleep on that fractional market. All right, carry on. Let's hear more about this.
Yeah. So it's async, so you can kind of do like as much work as you want. They do typically, for one project, they do typically cap it at 40 hours, but there are ways like you can maybe get more if you ask for it. But yeah, typically it's like over 40 hours, but like you could do 10 if you want to, you could do 40. It just kind of depends on what you have time for.
Okay, got it.
Right. And then I also got, I believe, 3 other offer letters. So 2 were actually government roles. And then 1 was a contracting company where they actually do government contracts. I'm trying to think if there's That more
Why
or
are you
less
thinking?
covers, yeah.
You know the internet gonna call you cap now. I'm gonna tell you right now. The internet gonna be like, oh, he cap in the comments.
I got the receipts, y'all.
Oh, you heard him. He got the receipts. So I'm just letting you know
Yeah.
it's possible and it's there. But how in the world is this? Like how? I'm still understanding trying to like get how in like the same time. Is it like same time or is it like overtime?
Overtime. So this was over the period of about 8 months. So
That's
I
still
got my
good.
first one in May, and then
Yeah.
I got my last one at the end. No, in middle of December.
And you turn all of them down. Why?
I didn't. Well, I didn't turn them all down.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because
Yeah.
who's turning it down? Okay, cool. So when it comes to the different sectors, what sector do you enjoy working in? Like fintech, govtech, edtech, which one?
Yeah. I think I don't know if there's like a specific sector, but in terms of like the company dynamics,
Yeah.
it's really the mid-sized companies.
Okay.
And kind of like I mentioned, like with FANG, there is like, it's not very async. There's going to be a lot of meetings. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of monitoring as well. So there's that. And then with the startups, they're trying to be FANG. So they may not have as much of the politics of FANG. However, there is a lot of like high velocity of work, and then it depends on the company culture. So startups can vary the most. Like, so there are some startups where the company culture might be very, very chill. And then there are some startups where it might be very, very intense.
Got it.
So that's where there's the most amount of variability. Whereas like mid-sized companies are typically, it is going to be a bit more stable. The rate might not, on paper, is not going to be as high. But then like when you take into account of like, for startups and FANG, a lot of the compensation is going to be stock-based.
Yeah.
The difference isn't as much as you think. And then because a lot of it, again, you have to do your own, you have to use your own discretion to basically figure out like, okay, what is the work life gonna be like at this job? And that's what you can do in the interviews.
Yeah.
And basically like find that out. But like, let's say it is like a low stress job, which is kind of async, then you can use that. And then if you're really good at your job, you can get a lot of the work done faster.
That's true.
And then, you know, if you want to start doing consulting as well, and then, hey, the money you thought you missed out in FANG, you're
Yeah.
making it up on the back end.
No, that is facts. He is not lying when it comes to this. It's definitely possible. It's a good balance. And a lot of people are actually leaving FANG companies to work at like mid-sized companies. Like a lot of people will start with FANG first to get that brand recognition. But based on your contract, like if they're telling you like, hey, you cannot use this for cloud, then okay, cool, you gotta try another way. But honestly, a lot of people will start off with the big companies first and start their own business. They get into consulting, or they will go to a mid-sized company for that work-life balance. So like if you're in that space, you kind of know and you get it. But if you're like new to the tech space and you're trying to understand it, I will say definitely try to start if you can with the FANG company and start off with like a GovTech company. So that way later in life, you can have that balance and you can enjoy what you really like to do. Now, as we're about to get ready to close, is there anything you want the listeners to know or learn more about you and something that you want to have them to leave with as you're, you know, discussing about your opportunities in your life, your journey and everything? So
Yeah. I would say like one thing definitely to leave with is one thing that really changed for me is the way I now set goals. I used to set like, hey, let's just say like I want to make this amount of money, right? And then I'll really, really focus on, okay, how can I make that amount of money? And then that's just, I go, and then I'll have like some sort of plan to get there, but like I wouldn't really go into too detail because I'm more of like a big picture person. But the details is really where things get done. So what I changed is now I will set that big goal and I'll have that there. It's there to motivate me when things get tough. But then that's no longer what I focus on. I now reverse engineer what it would take for me to get to that big goal. And then those steps now become the new goal. So let's say, hey, I want to get a job in tech, right? What do you do? Well, you have to apply, and then you got to be present on LinkedIn. So what am I going to do to get my applications out, be present on LinkedIn? Okay, cool. I also need to make sure that whenever I interview, I'm really good so that I can be moved forward. Okay, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm really good at interviews? Okay, that's a daily step by step. Okay, and then when I do finally get the offer, how do I make sure that they pay me at the top of the band? Okay, well, obviously we've already covered the technical aspect, but then how do I make sure that I'm knowledgeable enough about the market to know that I can demand this much? So you add that into a daily step. And then you kind of just be like, hey, if I do this every single day, then how can I make it almost impossible or very unlikely that I fail with a long enough time horizon? So yeah, that is kind of my new process of setting goals. And that's pretty much how I was able to get to that 1.4 million offer letters within the course of the 8 months.
Beautiful. I love it. I just love to hear it. I love to see it. Well, you guys, that's the end of this good episode. If you guys new here, please make sure you like, share, and comment and subscribe. And if you want to follow Isaac on his journey, we do have his information below in the descriptions. Isaac, I want to say thank you so much for coming on, and we really enjoyed having you as a guest and hope to see you soon. Bye, you guys. Tell the camera bye.
Bye.
Before we wrap up, if you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure you subscribe and follow Techpreneur Talks so you never miss an episode. We're dropping real, unfiltered insights for tech founders, professionals, and entrepreneurs who are actually building every single week. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, tap into exclusive content on Patreon, and don't forget to join us on Substack to grab our weekly deep dive newsletters with strategies you won't hear on the podcast. If this episode gave you value, share it with another techpreneur who needs to hear it. See you guys on next week's episode.